So a fair amount of support for the workers. But if we look back at what they did yesterday, they did disrupt the president's attempt to have a speech. And as we heard earlier from Satu, they wanted to hear what the president had to say. I'm wondering if you can tell us, though, how this has furthered what the workers at Sibanye-Stillwater are trying to achieve, and what is their next step?
I guess from yesterday, Sally, the one major breakthrough that we got would be the president saying that he'd engaged together with the Mineral Resources Minister with the mining company itself, Sibanye-Stillwater, to try and find an amicable solution to their woes. But of course, we do understand Sibanye-Stillwater not budging. When we spoke earlier on to their communications head, James Wellstead, who suggested that they will be sticking to their guns when it comes to what they're offering the workers, which is the 850 Rand. And of course, we do understand now the workers themselves are expected to continue with those protests going into the third month tomorrow, going on to those protests while they still demand that 1,000 Rand increase. So it's a deadlock when it comes to both the workers and the mining company in its own. And of course, those points that we've heard quite pointedly from both the South African Democratic Teachers Union suggesting that things could have been done differently, while the SACP says that no one person can receive such a bloated salary payout of 2021, 300 million Rand. Neil Funneman, the CEO of Sibanye-Stillwater, while the workers on the ground are struggling to get a wage increase of 1,000 Rand. So it is set to continue into its third month now, Sally, where we're obviously seeing deadlock at the stage.
And Aviwe, what are you picking up around the political fallout, around what happened yesterday? I mean, we have to note, of course, that President Cyril Ramaphosa, when Marikana happened, he was, of course, not in politics, he was in mining. But Marikana workers who protested ahead of that horrific massacre were AMCU workers, and it was AMCU workers who told him yesterday, you must go, and they didn't want to hear from her. We know that Rustenburg is close to Marikana, less than 50 kilometers away. I was wondering if that antipathy towards President Cyril Ramaphosa is in part due to the fact that AMCU workers will remember well what happened, particularly at Marikana, and whether that is going to be problematic in any political way.
So while it might have been AMCU workers yesterday, they were joined by NUM workers as they are jointly in the strike. You understand that there was a COSATU rally, which is affiliated to the African National Congress, and you heard those sentiments there, even coming from SATU, suggesting that that may not have been the proper forum for these concerns to be raised. We do understand COSATU, of course, part of the tripartite alliance, which, of course, we do understand the actions of the workers being condemned there. But on the ground, we have to acknowledge that while this might have happened in Rustenburg, this is in the gold sector. It's Sibanye-Stillwater's gold operations, both in the Free State as well as in Gauteng, in Carletonville, where we're expecting those two strikes to continue. I've been speaking to a number of AMCU workers who do suggest that they'll be continuing firmly with their actions of protest as they try to receive, of course, that 850 Rand wage increase. Also, NUM speaking out, but not quite as vocal as AMCU, which has been seen as more radical of the two unions in the mining industry. So we can expect those conversations to continue, while we expect that deadlock as well, Sally, to continue on the ground, as we're expecting the strike action itself to continue.
All right, thank you so much for that update, eNCA senior reporter Aviwe Mtila.